The fact that I'm a numeric value that can't fit into the geometry of quotidian expectations is not an anomaly. In fact, how dare you expect anything less than eccentricity from me? I swim against the tides and countless times pride myself on defiance because sometimes you have got to attain personal freedom from the dung pile of toxic independence. I follow no habitude. So when you try to fit me into your perceptual classifications, you will realize quick that I'm an outlier. Okay. So my name is Seiraph and I'm a poet, as it's obvious. I'm just happy to be on like Ethos. Yeah.
Welcome, man. It's actually a pleasure having you here.
Yeah.
We kind of like have history, right?
Yeah. We go all the way back from the days, you know.
Yeah. Which days? Anyway.
No, we go all the way back because, I've known you for a long time. At least I believe, you know.
Yeah, you actually do. We've actually conversated on a lot of occasions.
Yeah.
We met. I actually thought the time we met, I actually thought you were not a poet because I was like reading this piece to this guy.
Yeah.
I thought this guy is just interesting.
Yeah.
But little did I know that you were a bad man.
Yeah. By that time I wasn't bad though. You know, by that time I was writing flimsy love poems, and I saw your stuff. I was like, damn, man, I can't be writing this stuff. You know what I mean? Because your poetry was like, it was just out of this world. It was my first time I actually came across somebody who was writing all this sophisticated stuff that was like wordplay and all. And my poems at that time were just love, blue skies, blue eyes.
Yeah.
You know? So I was like, maybe I should reconsider my stance, you know. So it was nice meeting you at that time because you were like a good influence.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Thanks. But it's not this episode is not about me.
Exactly.
It's about Seiraph.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you, man? Like, if somebody had to come through and ask you who you are.
I think the hardest thing for most people, and for me, it's to like define yourself. It doesn't mean that you don't know yourself, but to lay out who you are is really slightly hard. But I think I would say I'm a blogger and I'm a poet, and sometimes when I feel like I rap, but I'm not a rapper and I don't want to be classified as one. I'm a poet. The rap kind of like falls in place sometimes, but it's rare.
It's kind of like a skill that you acquire through your journey.
Yeah.
Kind of like what my poetry is not because I started out as a poet, but because I started out as a rapper. I actually wanted to be like my friends. We actually, I was trying to. A good friend of mine, we had Denai Lupenga on the podcast. He actually influenced me to get into rap and everything. But poetry developed. I actually started out writing love poems in high school.
Everybody started out with love poems. In fact, it looks like most people started out with love poems. I mean, they were the easiest thing to write at the time. And like you said, with me, I started out as a rapper. Then I realized I was like, because I felt like if I was a rapper, I would have a select audience of people who related to me and people who are slightly equally rappers. But then when I delved into poetry, I felt I could reach everybody. You know, it doesn't matter because for rap kind of puts you in a fixed classification. You just people that you interest are usually equally rappers. But for poets, you could talk before men. That's just how I see it.
So what you're saying is that rap is more of for lack of better terms, more of a private, a certain sect of people that you can serve.
Yeah, and I think if compared to poetry, rap has got some sort of like audience discrimination. Meaning, like, for rap, most people that usually relate to rap are of a certain age group. It's only now that we're actually branching off and you find people. Maybe it's also some form of cultural setup, but usually people that rap appeals more to are of a certain age or a certain group or background. But for poetry, you could actually talk to a lot of people who might even find rap alienating. But you can't do the same for rap.
It's I don't know, man. I feel it's kind of the same. I feel like it's kind of the same thing. The way I relate to your kind of poetry, like slam poems and everything, is not the same way a friend or somebody else can relate to that. Don't you think that in itself has like, I mean, every genre has like a following of its own.
Yeah.
But every genre can be served to everyone, but a few can just speak up from what they've heard.
Yes, I agree with that. That's why I initially said that rap has got more audience discrimination, meaning like it's got a certain specific people it appeals to. But for poetry, it's almost like joking. It's almost like, okay, it's formal in a way compared to rap. So you find that you can easily talk to more people. More people could actually find it easy to listen. There are people who are so opposed to rap because it just doesn't sit in well with them. I don't know, background and issues. Sometimes there's religious issues tied to that. But for poetry, you could talk to whomever and whenever, because it's like you're just having a conversation, or you're just talking, or it's just a presentation of sorts. But for rap, it's a very fixed form of art which appeals to certain people. That's just how I see it.
No, yeah, okay. Yeah. We can like go back and forth. I get what you mean. But in line with the way you present your work, how best do you think? Okay, how can you? What's the current dynamic in the scene, like in the poetry scene in this country at the moment? Because you've been around, you.
Okay, you know what? I think that's a good question. I think poetry is the scene of the poetry right now in our countries. It's biased, 90% of the people that I've interacted with usually do religious-oriented poetry. That's not a bad thing, but there's an imbalance. So you find that most people, when you get to talk to them and hear their poems, I'm preaching the word of God. There's nothing wrong with that, but there's no diversity. You don't find people who just want to talk about random things like flowers, the sky. I mean, there's a lot of stuff we could actually talk about. Not that it's bad to talk about religion, but there are a lot of social ills that you could actually talk about in your poetry. But if everybody's going to go to church, it's going to be also it's going to result into some serious audience discrimination, like I said. Because if you go super religious with your art form, then you have a fixed audience, your church followers. I mean, how many religions do we have in Zambia? But if you're able to do a poem that can relate to, say, a Muslim or an atheist, on equal grounding, because it's a social issue and it's something that they themselves actually experience, not you go and tell them, Holy Ghost or Jesus. It's not that it's a bad thing. But that's the poetry in our country right now. It's just so religiously oriented. It's not a bad thing, but we need to be diverse. Like, find somebody who can talk about flowers and shoes and the sky.
Don't you think context matters as well? Yeah. Like with, I would use your example of say flowers, because you mentioned flowers. Do you think flowers could be attributed to like worshiping God in that context? You could say, I mean, Lord, you created these flowers, and I'm in awe by the beauty of these flowers.
But then, how would that hit somebody that professes no belief in a God? Like you say, you're ascribing everything that you're seeing around you to a God.
Yeah.
So what if somebody comes and goes like, I can't listen to this poem
because
we can't relate like on the beauty of. I think flowers are beautiful.
Yeah.
But you're saying God created them.
No, but if you look at this, the message itself is what matters, right? Yeah. So if I want you to hear, to hear about my God. I want you to hear a piece that talks about, or more like me introducing a God to you for somebody who doesn't believe and everything. So I'm sharing the goodness of my beliefs and my God.
Yeah.
Don't you think me professing, like using an analogy for, let's say, using flowers to profess God in that situation, don't you think that's okay?
That could be actually a smart way to go about it. Exactly like
So,
you said.
so you mean it's not a smart way to just go, oh, Jesus.
No, I mean, it could be smart, but it's not like prudent. You know what I mean? Because if you just go, I think it would appeal more to an atheist if you like you said used like creation, like some flowers, and then you try to ascribe them to design. Like, how could a flower just randomly come into existence? Obviously, someone put some mechanisms together to bring a flower into existence. I think that's what even, like, if you've heard of this philosophers called apologists. Like, there's one philosopher by the name of Aquinas. So he would talk about God. He would prove God's existence without using books of authority like the Bible. Because he realizes an atheist comes from a place where he feels the Bible is like a storybook. You know, it's like a book of fiction or a book written by men. So he uses the things around him to actually appeal to their intelligence. So he used this argument called the argument for causation, where he said everything that comes into existence was caused to come into existence. But there was somebody who's actually an uncaused causer or an unmoved mover who brought things into existence. Who's that person? That's God, because it's out of time and space. So it was like, if you come across a boy in a desert, a silver boy in a desert, you can't start assuming sand particles came together and formed that ball. Obviously, someone left it there. And then he was like, the same way with us humans. We're on this planet. You can't say we just developed by random chance. Obviously, someone designed us, and then he was ascribing that to God. So if you can prove it like that to atheists, and then they believe that there's a God, then you can push in the Bible. But most poets don't do that. I don't think that's the art.
So that's like the dynamic of poetry scene in this country is all about punchline this, punchline that,
and then there's church underneath it as a foundation.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I believe in God, blah blah blah. He said blah 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 and everything.
And sometimes you might be a secular poet, but you're not even like speaking ill of religion and all that. But just because you don't do gospel poetry of sorts, you just they put you at arm's length. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I get what you're saying, because I for one, I cannot say my content is okay. I used to like write. I'm still writing, but people haven't heard my thing, so so it's in the grapevine.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say my content is like, if somebody had to hear what I am saying, they wouldn't off the top say, oh, this is like a gospel piece. And mostly I draw from my experiences and what I want people to hear at that particular moment, or what I want to tell myself at that particular moment. Kind of like with the music, I cannot go directly saying, oh, this is, or even the sound itself, it cannot come out as a gospel sound, but it will come out as my perspective. But out of that trouble, out of that chaos, there is something that centers me in that situation. Kind of like what we had this previous conversation. Remember that day where you talked about the EP, the Ethos EP we did, like the Symmetry EP, wasn't like...
Yeah, it didn't come across as really. But then you were telling me it was, I was shocked. I was like, okay,
I know, but
I didn't notice.
There is an underline, because the whole purpose was to this chaos, this difference of individuals, just bringing it in one form of art. So the whole essence of symmetry, it's in the definition, balance in a way. So despite our differences, we come together and we agree on this one thing.
Yeah, I think that's the wise way to go about it. I don't speak down on people that actually do religious. I think they're doing a good job. And when you are doing religious poetry, in a sense, you have a bigger purpose. Like because you're looking at the bigger picture. You feel you can. Some people feel they can save lives from their arts.
Yeah.
And I don't discredit that. Actually, some people I think might have been drawn to God because they heard you speak in a certain way that appealed to them. And like this, the way that they hear every day, now God, this God, but then they heard it through art and then it appealed to them. So I think there's a lot more to this. I wouldn't just say no, bad. It's like it's like throwing the bathwater. It's like throwing the baby with the bathwater.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. But personally, I just choose not to do like religious poetry. Not that I can't, but I feel just being neutral is in a sense would appeal to everybody. It's not like I go around bad mouthing religion and all that.
No, but so speaking about appeal, bro. So if is your goal to just appeal to everyone without you saying your beliefs?
Okay, for me, poetry for me is not a move. I'm not an activist of some sort. Like my poetry is not a movement to change anybody. It's purely passive entertainment. Like you just hear a poem about. I could write a poem about a phone and how it couldn't go on, and I was trying to make a call, but then the words you're gonna pack into the poem, the wordplay, how you're gonna wonder about before you say the point, could be entertaining and something refreshing to listen to. But it won't necessarily change who you are if you're a racist guy or if you're just like, if you're very discriminatory, It won't, I'm not looking towards changing you as a person.
Yeah.
Like you could change yourself, man. I got bigger stuff to do with my life. So I just write purely just to entertain. Or in a way to just provoke your thinking. But not to think in a certain way, but just to provoke your thinking to some degree. But not really to change your whole belief system.
No, but to what end? To what end? If you provoke me, let's say you want me to think of the infinite monkeys.
Yeah.
What's the point of me thinking about the infinite? Actually, it's actually a real thing. It's a real theory.
Infinite monkeys.
Yeah,
I
infinite
haven't
monkeys.
heard of
It's
it.
about let me not butcher it, but if you can Google it and everything.
Yeah.
So it's about this theory that talks about no matter how many monkeys get on a PC or start writing poetry, they cannot amount to your level of perfection. Get the point?
Ah, yeah. Okay.
So I don't know if I've butchered it, but yeah, if I stand to be corrected. But yeah, that's so the point is, if you provoke me to think in those lines,
Yeah.
what's the point? Even though I've already
Okay, I'll give an example of what I'm currently working on. There's this. I'm working on a 14-piece spoken word album. So the album is called Infinite Regress.
Yeah.
So Infinite Regress.
Infinite monkeys.
Yeah. So I thought that's what you're getting at. So I was like, oh, okay. Yeah.
That was actually random, but yeah. Okay, we can do that.
So it's called Infinite Regress. So Infinite Regress is a philosophical concept that goes like for every preposition that you give to justify a certain action or to justify a certain belief, somebody could then ask you why that's the case. And then when you give a response, they could further ask you why. So it goes like, it claims that for the chain of justification will always go on. But the point, at any point at which you give a weak justification, it crumbles down everything. So I could say, well, we could be riding in a car and I would say, I think you should jump off the car. And then you ask why? Because the car might explode. And then I ask why? Because I saw somebody put like a time bomb behind the... And then you go like, how? And then I could be like, well, that person is crazy and all that stuff, but I saw him put the time bomb. And then you're like, did you really see him? And then you go like, that's just how I feel. Then him just saying, that's just how I feel, kills down everything he said. Because you are about to drop off the car, but the fact that he gave a weak justification in the chain of justification, it weakens down everything. So the point was, if I could talk about like infinite regress and appeal to somebody's mind, like how about it's more like I'm provoking them to think about their own like deep beliefs. Like say for example, if we could, if skepticism and questions could go on and on and on and on and on, is there anything that we could objectively say is true and is pure and right?
Yeah.
Can you say that of your belief system, or of everything that you believe? Can you say it's objective without leaving room for question? Because you can say I believe in God. Why? Because He saved my life. How? It just goes on and on and on.
So.
But then, can you give like a definite answer that's fixed? So when people start thinking like that, they go like, okay, I should start looking into most of the stuff that I believe, because skepticism doesn't just create doubt; it also helps you like reaffirm your beliefs despite whatever you believe.
Yeah. So it kind of like ties back to you're a believer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you believe in God and.
But I wouldn't like to.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
So it kind of like ties back to what we feel is our belief.
Yeah.
And everyone has their own standpoint where they refer to when they're down, where they how can you like do you like communicate that in this particular project that you're going to?
Yes, I do, because there's a
like no spoilers.
Yeah.
Let's not
spoilers.
spoil anything.
So there's a piece called skepticism, and then in that piece, skepticism is just basically questioning, like a questioning tendency. But then in that poem, I'm trying to say the questioning tendency does not know like an end. It doesn't know where to say stop, because then you could question forever, till infinity, So there could be it's what I'm saying there is I'm questioning if we could have objective truths to a point where they don't leave no room for questions. You just say this is it and this is true. Because even as much as we might say this table is white, somebody could still ask you why you believe it's white, and then you could justify it, give good answers and all that, but then they could further ask you why. So what I was trying to get to the whole in that piece for skepticism was, if we don't have things we can objectively say as true, this is this and this is it, no further question, then our beliefs, what we hold to, what we treasure, could just be a fact about choice. It could just be a fact about decision and difference.
Free will.
But not that something is objectively wrong, something is objectively right. It could just be a fact about our choices. And I don't agree with that, because writing this is like, even me, it's going against this whole philosophical concept is going against what I believe. So it's more like in the EP, I'm arguing against it, trying to find a solution, because I don't think there are things that you could just say, there are things that we can't say, this is it, this is wrong, this is like this, end of story. I think such things must exist somehow. Yeah.
Cool, man.
Like murder. But somebody would then ask, what makes murder wrong? The fact that you're taking somebody's life, we all aspire to live, right? Yeah. So the fact that you're taking somebody's life without their consent and choice, that makes it objectively wrong. You can't even ask why it's wrong. It's just wrong. It's just wrong.
Yeah, but everyone has like where they justify their actions. They say I just exist. I can like make any decision. Like everyone has a moral law giver, or let me say has a where they get their morals. It can be, they might think, it's mindset, it's just me existing in this, but there's some sort of influence they get from the outside environment they're in. So it is, like you have said, murder is wrong to you and me, but there are some who follow the Torah, the Old Testament, say an eye for an eye. So if you kill like you kill my brother, I'll also kill your brother or something like that.
Yeah, but then it's not for that case you told me. It's not. Somebody's coming from a place where they have a reason to kill you and a justification. It's not just mere killing. It's not like I just wake up and feel like killing Moses today, then I just stab you.
No, but
I have a place where I'm coming from. Like, you killed my brother too, so it's like vengeance.
Oh, yeah.
So that, in a way, kind of justifies the fact that I've killed you. But it doesn't make it wrong, but it just
doesn't make it right.
I'm coming from a place where I have a reason.
It doesn't make it right.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it right. But in a situation where Jack the Ripper, for instance, he just, you want to kill these people.
But obviously, he was coming from some place, you know.
So everything has a justification, right?
Yeah.
Everyone builds a mindset where they have a justification for their actions.
Yes. That's why this is where I believe that God should come in, like, we should bring in God, because if we have God, then we have an objective moral compass.
Yeah.
Because we could say, something that God says is wrong is objectively wrong for all of us. It's not a fact about choice or what you feel, but if God actually says this is wrong, then it's wrong. It's binding for all of us that it's wrong. I say, for example, like murder or killing.
Yeah.
So if we're coming from a place where we religiously and objectively believe killing is wrong, then at least we have a moral compass. But then if we're going to say everyone has a choice and morality is subjective, I could just wake up and say I feel like killing you today and I'm right. You know? It's just it's my choice.
Because there's no moral compass.
Yes, and then if you feel different, then that's your own thing. But me, I feel like killing you and I'm right.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. But if there's a God and a higher moral compass saying that you can't do this, then at least we have somewhere stable to be around. And those are the objective truth. I try to bring out, not that I'm getting into religion, but I'm just saying if we have a God, then we have a balance for good and evil. You know? Yeah. Something
Amen, man.
Yeah.
Amen. So, going back to we met and all these things are happening.
Yeah.
We're sharing poems and everything.
Yeah.
You speak about how has it been before you getting from where we left off. Like, I remember you organizing an event on when was that? That was way back.
Yeah.
That was
the global platform.
Yeah.
That event I was planning, since I was thinking, by then I had